2020 for sure. Oh, it's preparing for the live stream.
Yeah, now I
on
see
YouTube.
the beautiful live icon on YouTube.
Probably we are live already. So welcome again, second try. Welcome, beautiful people on the Bitcoin Island in Malta, or soon to become Bitcoin Island, fading blockchain island. My name is Leon. I'm your host, and I am together with the one and only Slim Shady, the real Slim Shady.
Victor.
And I wonder how you are doing, Victor. Tell us a bit.
I'm very good. Yeah, I'm drinking wine, chilling, looking at the Bitcoin price racing. So yeah, I'm having a good time. It's been great.
Yeah. Having a good time, regardless of the circumstances.
Yeah, no, but it's I don't know. You've never been in Sweden, you know, in the winter, but you're German, so I guess you understand the cold. Looks like
Germany is not so nice in the winter, in my eyes. They are better. They are better countries to enjoy.
Yeah, but you have snow, right? I mean, you have lots of snow, like in Sweden. It's
my connection is a bit shitty.
It's very shitty. Let me see. Could it be mine? Could it be my connection?
I don't think so. I think it's my connection because I don't have so much bars.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could try a little bit. You can you check the YouTube live stream on your other device, whether it's actually watchable, because I cannot check that.
So
you need to do that. Like, you know, to, how's it called? Quality assurance. But maybe now it goes better. So we were, I think, a few interesting topics to discuss tonight. Also, continuing from our last chat, maybe is definitely, again, you know, what drives the price, which is a infinite question, of course. And by the way, and talking Bitcoin itself is, you know, is planetary. Yeah, it's universe. So it's like, yeah, it's just a topic that is really rich and interesting, and nobody, you know, there's not a single person that knows everything. It is way too complex, and also way too, there it's actually really because it is so impactful and interfering into history, right? Like Bitcoin changes the history right now. It's writing history literally, right? So it's so complex that you can't easily categorize it and say that's Bitcoin. No, you can't. It will change. We don't know what's going to happen with it.
No, but I think it's a very interesting time to talk about Bitcoin because, like I mentioned, I think previously when we've talked, I mean, there's so much going on right now. I mean, it's good news and bad news, and you know, prices.
Yeah, so that's there was a tweet today. Like, is it actually good? You know, because I don't know. I think Financial Times or something had an article, but they always, I don't have the subscription, so they're always paywalled, so I couldn't read it. But it said the coronavirus brings the Bitcoin price up, and I don't know what their theory was about it. And then some, you know, people, and then people ask, you know, is it good that, you know, should we have more bad news? So Bitcoin price goes up. The same also happened with the World War III news that came up, you know, when there was this Iran thing at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And you know, many people said, hey, we should have more bad news, so the Bitcoin price up, because I want to see Bitcoin up. And of course, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know. I think I agree with the tweet that said we want Bitcoin to succeed because people get educated about money, not because of, you know, bad events or something like that.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, of course. But what can? Why is it so? Why does it have an impact? I mean, when something like that happens, let's say this virus now, for example, when people actually are suffering, and we don't really know how many people are going to get affected by the virus and stuff. Why do you think it's actually increasing in interest and price?
I don't know if that was connected. I don't think so. I don't know what the theory was. I didn't read it. I have no idea. But what I could think is maybe that in general, whenever kind of government creates problem, which is the case for this coronavirus a bit, because they locked down an entire city, so that means people lose freedom, right? So the more people lose freedom, maybe that leads towards people using Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is kind of the ultimate freedom tool, right? And like self-sovereignty and monetary sovereignty. So maybe is the trend and the anti-trend overall, but I have no idea. I mean,
okay, but
I don't think you can always tell what it is that's pumping. But one thing is for sure, we're heading towards the halving. So that's kind of I think still like the main, the big question is, how many people watch Bitcoin? How many people? The fundamental indication is how many people want to buy more Bitcoin but don't have the money now, and how much money will they make every month? And how much do they want to put in Bitcoin? And this group gets larger through education increasing, because people understand, okay, like this is a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity to invest in this new money, because if it's super scarce, right? It's 21 million Bitcoins and 7 billion people, and so that's a bet I'm happy to make. And in fact, the more you learn, the more confident you become with it. And so that's the question, where is the dumpers? The supply of Bitcoin, the supply growth or the emittance rate, when that matches new people wanting to save in Bitcoin and putting money into Bitcoin, then of course the price goes up. But then at the same time, there are huge players, who want to cash out maybe, or dump it or speculate or whatever. And we will see when that meets each other, right? And in general, historically, the big question is what will happen with the next block reward halving coming up in May this year. So just a few months, it's less than 120 days, I think, less than 120 days. And historically, in the halving 2012 and 16, the last two times, what has been a pattern is that 4 months before the actual event, you see sort of a bull rally starting already, and so that could be now or February.
Yeah, but I want to think that people are also aware that, let's say for the USA-Iran crisis, I mean, when people actually see and hear and notice that it's getting worse in I mean, even a thing like a war between USA and Iran affects so much. Maybe people are getting more aware that maybe the economy is going to get affected. Maybe it's a good time to actually exchange their gold and their fiat for some Bitcoins. Maybe there's a big wave of just a small tweak in the mentality of a certain type of people that actually exchange for Bitcoin, that also affects the price, because we don't really know how many people are thinking about it, but maybe are too scared, or maybe are, I mean, even investors are probably thinking in these, having these thoughts, like, should I or should I not? And maybe times like this,
should I buy Bitcoin or not?
yeah, but I really think so. I think people with a lot of money maybe want to, but are too afraid. But when they see that things are actually happening, things are moving, well, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to exchange their euros,
Yeah, of course, definitely, yeah.
Maybe
There
that's
has
what's
been another
happening.
tweet also about that. I don't know who. Health had a really good tweet, and it's, yeah, you know, if you look at the macro, like the wars, the crisis, especially the monetary system, the US dollar, like it looks really good with the stock market and stuff, right? Like stock market pumping, but everybody knows, you know, it's a debt bubble.
Yeah.
The Federal Reserve activities. They came up with a new branding for quantitative easing. It's called backstop. I don't know exactly the details. I don't really care, but basically they're just printing money, you know, more than ever, and there is no limit. So you know, all of that makes it fragile, and of course, you know, the alternative is there. It's unsecure. So I think many people ask the question, actually, how safe are we? You know, how safe is my portfolio,
Exactly.
my retirement?
Yes, that's what I mean.
And is there something, maybe the risk, you know, Bitcoin is portrayed in the media as like super risky, right? And like volatile and just speculators. And besides all of that, it's just criminal and dark. But in reality, if you look at the performance, it's less risky perhaps than you know, having everything in the traditional legacy system, huh?
Yes, I mean, every time I buy Bitcoin, I mean, I'm not buying it for Bitcoins, but every time I exchange fiat for Bitcoin, I'm never nervous, or I'm never thinking that, oh, maybe I will lose the money. It's not like I'm feeling like I'm taking risks in that sense. I'm not trading, first and foremost. I'm not a trader in that sense. I used to be in that kind of business, but nowadays when I because I want to stack Satoshi, and that's the reality, because I believe in it. But I never feel like it's a big risk, where I feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't, or maybe I should keep my svenska kronor. No, I'm really, you know, I feel secure about it. I mean, even though it's very volatile, like you say, of course. I mean, right now, what's the price? The price is, yeah, we're over $9,000 for a Bitcoin. I mean, when we talked a few hours ago, we were like 8,500 something, and I was like, shit, we're still moving. And I just feel like it's a natural thing. I was never worried. I was worried in the beginning. No, I was worried at the end of 2018 and maybe the first week in 2020. Sorry, 2019 and the beginning of 2020. I was a bit not skeptical, but I thought that maybe something could happen now. So if something would happen, it would happen now. If this was a bogus and like scam or whatever, then fine, it would have happened. But now I feel so secure with Bitcoin. It's like I feel almost dumb not, you know, investing more when I can. I go buy Bitcoin.
People feel comfortable. Yeah, that's been another very nice tweet today that basically said, you know, okay, so is Bitcoin, isn't it like really unstable? And like there was something about stable coins and stuff. And yeah, you know, Bitcoin itself is just Bitcoin, right? It's just this protocol which you can't change anymore, really, right? Like you can have some updates on top, and like now we have all this second layer payment technologies, and you know, the ecosystem grows, but the core base protocol layer, that cannot be changed anymore. That's just running now, right? It's running and running, and you can't do anything. And that makes it stable, you know. And also the development is also very conservative, you know. So they don't do crazy stunts, you know. It's just like, hey, you know, it works. Like right now, it just works. And so that gives you this technology or new asset or new entity that's there, right? It is there and it can be used. And so now it depends on the people, right? So Bitcoin is stable, but the people moving in and out and trying to figure it out, this creates, of course, a lot of movement. So we see people going in, going out, and then over the long term, probably more more people holding on.
Yeah, I'm pretty secure. People are actually. I mean, we're increasing in amount of people actually investing in Bitcoin. I wouldn't only say invest in Bitcoin. I would say onboarding to Bitcoin, because I'm so. But I feel like this is just as natural as. I mean, people living, having a longer lifespan. I mean, apparently we are living more years than we have ever done before in previous generations, and I feel like Bitcoin is the next currency for us to use. It's an asset we should take care of, and for people that are taking the time reading about it, maybe talking to people like you, for example, who are very into it and can really explain it in a very good way, then they will have benefits these upcoming years, because it's time. Now's the time. That's how I see it. I love Bitcoin. Where did you go, man? We need to get you better internet where you are, man. I hear you, but yeah, now I see you. Welcome back.
I think I'm back. Yeah, the people in the house here, I think we're just like walking in between my connection. So I use a Wi-Fi repeater which I bought yesterday, but I placed it like I think a little bit too close to the router. And so here I'm in the third floor, and I think it does really come up well. And like if people walk in between or like other devices go in or something, then it's just not powerful enough. I'm really sorry for inconvenience.
But now when you mention we are, because you obviously you are abroad. So how do you see people? I mean, are you talking with random people about Bitcoin where you are now? Are you expressing
so
your
I wanted to reply or add to your what you just said, which was Bitcoin is kind of a new paradigm, really, right? Like, or a new lifestyle, and so I think that's true. So just from my personal experience, I think it's so great to. I mean, even if it's utopian, and many like it's got really like this, like this okay boomer meme. I think explains it also a little bit, that young guys, or like people come up with a new technology that is questioning the status quo, that is challenging the establishment, right? And then of course, why would you invest if there's no track record, if it seems super risky, if it's maybe never gonna work? But then it does work, it does work.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, we'll see, right? But and then you just do it, and we just go, and we are on this ride together. We're on this fucking ride, man. And it's just amazing. It's just really amazing. Yeah. Absolutely agree. And that's what I think is a good point here is Tim Draper. There was an article. It went live a couple days ago, and basically the headline is, Tim Draper says millennials should invest in Bitcoin, and there was one quote, and he said, build an empire in the new model, right? And that's exactly the point, because so we know what is possible, right? When you invest, if you had invested in Bitcoin in the very beginning, you have a advantage of it's incredible. It's really like a one in a lifetime chance. So if you invest $1,000 in 2009, like multi-millionaire, right? And what if Bitcoin goes on 10 million now? Having one Bitcoin will leverage you, will capital catapult you and really, you know,
Yeah,
you will have
of course.
more economic freedom. You can start amazing companies. You can invent stuff. You can focus on education and learning for yourself, help your family, and then you can just create your own world, right? And that's what it is about in the end. So this is definitely really interesting, and so
Yeah, but also how what do you think people really thought about? I mean, in the beginning, when people, I mean, when Bitcoin basically was worth nada, when it was just Bitcoins. I mean, it wasn't that many people. I mean, even though it was a big thing, maybe with a new way, a new digital cash, you know, a new way of. I mean, if people obviously thought it had potential many years ago, but do you really think people had this idea of Bitcoin growing like this? I mean, do you think? I mean, of course, there were a small group of people always, you know, fighting for believing in, but I mean, the rest must just have grew with it, because it's a kind of surrealistic thing to think about people having like 65 Bitcoins in the wallets, and it was worth nothing. And you know, the first transaction with the pizza, you know, it was, I don't know how many Bitcoins, but it was like 130, or was it 1,000 Bitcoins? I don't know, the first transaction. But still, I mean, it's quite surrealistic to see how it developed and where we are now.
No, I think it's been part of the design. I mean, Satoshi, it's clear that the Bitcoin is, you know, has its foundation in the Austrian economics school of thought, and there is a pretty, you know, well established or well researched analysis or theory on what money is and how it works. And Bitcoin was designed to be better money, to be a gold-like worldwide reserve currency, basically. And it is a winner-takes-it-all market in the end, because the universal saleability of the money makes the money worthy in the end, because it increases the value. And yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, like, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, you cannot say, hey, Bitcoin could work halfway through, you know, if just the US would use Bitcoin. But of course, you know, like, ultimately it is the internet money, and the internet is global right now. It truly is. And the borders hopefully become lesser and thinner, and we can connect even, you know, more seamless. That, you know, I think there are many borders and censorship and countries, you know, trying to shut and isolate. But ultimately, you know, if that happens, then no, Bitcoin has been designed to become dominant world currency, right? And there was this Unchained Capital, I retweeted it today. They made an article why that will happen, and it's a flowchart basically, which has like two or three fundamental yes or no questions. You know, okay, like, if is Bitcoin more scarce than any other asset? Yes. Okay, so and like that explains it really well. I mean, maybe we can look it up.
Yeah, but this scarcity, isn't that for now? I mean, right now it's like that. But I mean, let's say there's a financial crisis coming up. I mean, even the younger generation will change their mind of the money they are used to use. I mean, I think it can change very quickly. I mean, with the value of what's worth and what's not. Because let's say that, I mean, we have another 2008. I mean, in other countries, not only America. I mean, we can have a lot of financial crises, but what if Bitcoin like still will keep its current worth? It still will. I mean, instead of using the fiat, we will actually have to use Bitcoin because it actually has the worth that the other currencies doesn't even have because of the crisis. Then, I mean, even the younger generation will obviously see Bitcoin as the winner and as the stable currency. And during that time, it will just like, I think we need a financial crisis for Bitcoin to really, really, really accelerate. I think the first financial crisis we will see, that's when the Bitcoin will really accelerate, and we will see what it's really worth. I think it's not like I'm sitting here hoping for a financial crisis, but you know, I think it's almost needed for Bitcoin to get the respect it actually built to carry.
I don't think it's needed. I think there could also be like a transition, you know, just okay, like we build the alternative system and people use Bitcoin because it performs just better, you know. So let's say there's no crisis, but magically the Federal Reserve and the other central banks somehow manage to avoid a crisis, because I mean, you know, the boom and bust cycle, the last crisis was caused by printing money, right? And the solution of the Keynesians is to print more money, to bail out the banks and fix the problem. So that in theory, this could go ultimately wrong, right? This would be the ultimate crash then. But let's say, who knows, you know, based on the Keynesian theory, we need to manage the money and we need to print and stimulate the market, and then it's all right. So let's assume they will just print and, you know, price stability and like be able to keep up and you know, continue with the development right now, you know, whatever it is. That will be okay, you know, because still Bitcoin, because of its scarcity, will outperform the other currencies over the long term. And as you said, people see that, you know, they will see it takes time. Yeah, so it will always take a couple of years. So look, I tell a friend right now, right? So why don't you buy Bitcoin? I was like, I remember, you know, I had a friend in Malta. It was 2 or 3 years ago, and I was saying like, you know, have a little, at least a little bit, you know, to try out to see if, how you get along with it. And he never did, you know. And now he will also bite his ass, you know. So I think it takes time, it takes iteration, and like, you know, like any other product. When you have a new product on the market, it takes usually 25 you know, connections or touch points until somebody makes a final decision, right? Especially something with Bitcoin, it's really edgy and it's still complicated, and it also, like, you know, the banks don't make it easy, right? I mean, they block your account maybe, and not all of the banks. Some people don't even have good bank accounts and stuff, and they also don't have money. So so the millennials, I think, although it's their money, it's made for them and it's their future and it's really for their generation, they are the internet native people. They are still too hesitant and too much, they're getting too streamlined also, I think, you know, with I think people are risk aversive, you know, and then once they grow older and out of the teenage years, you know, even worse, you know, then they have to work a job and stuff, and it makes it a bit dumb maybe. So I think that's all, like, still holding people a little bit back. But ultimately, you're right. I think there's no way around. If you see over a course of a couple of years, if you see what's going on, you know, at a certain point you will just join, and then it's okay. Yeah. So but of course, you know, Bitcoin was launched during the financial crisis, right? And definitely, clearly, it is like product, right? Problem solution, right? Problem solution. That's where the sell happens, really, right? And I agree that, you know, if there would be a financial crisis, and we see it right now, right? Wherever in each country where there is extreme controls, transactional controls, financial controls. Iran, I think it was last also, or Libya or something, or Lebanon. I think Lebanon had cash controls, and like they shut down the ATMs to and limited extremely. There we have huge spike, you know, Venezuela, Argentina, all over, yeah, and it definitely shows that, you know, people need a wake up call sometimes. If it's something serious, it might be actually, you know, although we don't want to wish people bad things. We don't want
exactly.
To,
that's also what I was thinking of. But I'm also thinking, like, you know, the biggest threat in a financial crisis, and especially for the development countries, is like internet being closed and stuff. People don't know how how to exchange their bitcoins because they can't connect to the internet, and that's a quite hard question or that's a hard problem to solve actually.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think there is again, then you figure out another problem. Oops, the internet is actually shit. It's actually not as resilient. It's not as decentralized. It can be shut down. It can be censored. So fuck, you need a new internet. There are alternative approaches like mesh networks where it's more decentralized, or satellites and stuff. I don't think really you can shut down the internet. But I mean, I was in Cuba, right? And in Cuba there is no internet. Yeah, and so.
There's no internet in Cuba?
Of course, there's
There's no internet in Cuba? What did you say?
No, there's no. I mean, there is a little bit. They have to go to the public square and then like buy a ticket from the government office there. There's like a small office stand and a guy selling these tickets. And it's I think only one provider, and also it runs out very fast, so it's really badly priced. And you can only go to the square and then take your phone and connect to the internet. You don't have any internet in a cafe, in a shop, or in a hotel, or at home. They don't have routers. They literally don't have internet infrastructure. So yeah, but still they get along. Still they have food. Still they have market. They have capitalism practically, because people buy and sell. It's just planned economy crap. So. But the market is always at work. The market is always just people working for their best, feeding their family, and trading with each other, going in trades with each other. So I don't see the US shutting down the internet. It would be the biggest harm they could possibly do to the economy. And even if they try, then it's not possible, because there are quite a lot of, I think also like the cables overseas, they're like a lot now and stuff, so it's not that easy to control. For sure. I mean, if shit hits the fan, then Bitcoin is not necessarily even a live bulb, because you maybe have other problems. But from a like modern day risk or perspective, how to protect your wealth and at the same time have a great like technology, really, like to be flexible, then Bitcoin is great. Because if you see in their quote, I don't remember a quote, but basically like when there's bad situation in your country, let's say, okay, which we hope will not happen, but in the worst case, then you are much better off if you have money. Because if you have money, you can buy stuff, you can buy food, you can buy logistics. I mean, the most important is logistics, because you may decide to not stay and just get the fuck out. Yeah, so that's kind of your number one priority. But if you don't have money, how are you gonna do it when basically everything is super scary and also very regulated and even illegal? Then the prices shoot up, because there will be black market prices, and black market prices are up to 200% higher. Yeah, in the world, it depends. So for flights or stuff, if they're extreme controls, and then you need, and especially because we talk about financial crisis, right? So if your currency collapses, then I think it's very good if you have a hedge against that. Maybe precious metal, or I mean, there are different theories about that, right? But Bitcoin, of course, like look at it. You can remember it in your brain. You can remember it in your fucking brain, and take all you have, all your money, all your wealth. It could be millions. It could be, and even if it's just a few satoshis, for someone in a developing country, that's great value, that buys him stuff. Of course, given that somebody accepts it for this is a new dimension for freedom and for protection of your economic freedom, and your wealth. So if maybe I mean, it's a horrible example again, but it's the reality, and we have to face reality. Like in Nazi Germany, the first thing the Hitler did was to confiscate the gold. Of course, because they want the gold, because it's a robbery, but also because it really disarms the people financially, so they cannot flee anymore, right? So they're controllable. And Bitcoin solves that problem. Like, you cannot confiscate it so easily. There's, by the way, a great conference coming up on February in Las Vegas called Unconfiscatable from our friend Ton Weiss. So that's all around that, right? Like, this unconfiscatable asset that you can't easily seize, freeze, censor, or steal. Yeah. So I think that's a really great really new paradigm.
Yeah. While you were talking, I was thinking about it as well. I mean, even though if they close the internet, maybe we have developed, because as people
they close the internet. I mean, I don't think they can close the internet globally, because
no,
it's the same. Look, it's the same with Bitcoin, actually. Like, if one big country, I mean, then you would assume a global conspiracy, right? Where like all big players are somehow following the same agenda, and I don't think that's going to happen. So as long as there's at least a little bit of competition, shutting down your internet will just destroy yourself. Yeah, it will just
of course.
completely bring down the economy. So
no, I'm not being. It's not. I'm not trying to be that radical, thinking that the internet will not be accessible. But I'm thinking, once again, I'm thinking about the countries where, like, for example, China. It's already hard for people in China to connect to us in Europe, for example, and to communicate in a way we should be able to communicate with. So I'm just thinking about what tools and we will develop during the time coming up. Since and this is also something I don't think many people understand, but we can actually have the money, the Bitcoin in our head. We can have it on a paper. We can have it in small, we could have it as coins as well if we would like to have it in coins. We could have the code integrated in a coin. So it's so many ways we could actually, even though they would close, let's say they would close internet. Well, if we could just have the code, and we could integrate in that way, it could still, we could still use it like the classic way, if we would like to. So it's quite interesting how.
Let's do a little advertising. Let's do a little advertising break, and then we get back, because I think it's an important question. Yeah, I have some ideas for that also. But we called the title here "Free Satoshis," and that means that you can earn free Satoshis. And the way that works is if you leave us a comment here in the YouTube. Last time we said I think one comment. We will do it again. We didn't get the comment, but we still did. Either way, we had like 37 views last time. 37 views. So maybe we hit 40 views or 45 this time. Would be really appreciated if you shared a little bit. And I think we can make maybe 1,000 Satoshis is becoming a significant value. It's really like, it's now Bitcoin price going up. It could really be a great income. So I think we will give 1,000 Satoshis for every comment. And maybe we have another challenge which earns a little bit more. Maybe we make a giveaway of 10,000 Satoshis for the one. What could we do? Oh yeah, crypto.com we also discussed a little bit, right?
Yes.
Maybe come up with a challenge, okay? But back to the China's.
Yeah, but you should actually. I mean, there's this amazing app that Lee showed me today, and I'm always skeptical when I get these new crypto things. Not because it's crypto, but because there's so much shit on the market. But this time there was this app called what was it? Crypto.com. Crypto.com, yeah. And I mean, it's basically like Visa, a MasterCard, with the bank account, the virtual bank account with the. You can also, have your crypto in it. You can exchange your bitcoins for other cryptos. You can exchange it for your euros, your dollars. Plus, you can if you have Bitcoins on your card, you can actually withdraw it from your bank account. So put that link in the description or wherever they see it. And
yeah, the referral link. Yeah, you can earn $50.
Yes, you earn $50.
But in their shitcoin.
No, but
so what I like about, honestly, you know, the number one thing that I like, or actually I have two things that I like about crypto.com. Because being, of course, you know, being a true Bitcoiner, you prefer to just stay away from banks, you know, because there is nothing good to be expected, really. It's obsolete anyways, because, you know, I can send Bitcoin, I can use Lightning, I don't need a bank anymore. It's only this transition period, right, that we need to kind of buy Bitcoin with cash, or we get paid and stuff. I mean, I really try to focus on Bitcoin, you know, like get my whole economy into Bitcoin. Because it's just better, you know, it doesn't close. Like, you know, like I wanted to do transfer today, and the money didn't come, you know, because fucking banks are slow. Bitcoin never sleeps, you know, it's always working. But what I like about Bitcoin.com, crypto.com, two things. First of all, amazing outdoor marketing campaign in Miami. Time for Plan B. Really nice, really well done, you know, and it supports Bitcoin, it supports the cause. They have a big Bitcoin, they don't shy away. I like that. And the second is KYC seems to be little, and that is also rare, because of course that's a big challenge for a business to stay compliant on the one side, but customer centered on the other side, because compliance is not customers centered, it's bullshit, literally, right? So they just for process, and then you can already create the virtual bank accounts. You really just, you don't need all the level, whatever. I don't know where they license. So that, and that, you know, that although I mean, it really doesn't say anything about the company. It doesn't say, I mean, I'm not promoting, I'm not paid from crypto.com or anything, but what I like about it personally is that you don't see that often that a company actually tries to, I mean, it could be that they're just too stupid, right? But, or like, but no, you know, I mean, I think there is a clear strategic decision. Hey, we want to keep it little because we don't want to, we don't want to annoy people. We want to onboard people. And then maybe at the later point, probably they will make it harder, because they have to, because they have correspondent banking and they need licenses or whatever. But that's always kind of, I really appreciate if a company is not like everyone else, where it's like, hey, you know, you can't even get an account, even if it's, you know, a small service or whatever. Like, you have to upload documents. It's so hard, such a waste of time. So I like that.
Yeah, but what was interesting as well was usually when you refer someone on a link, you are usually the one getting something for it. But when Lee sent the link to me, I actually received $50 for it. So it's like we both earned something on it. And I mean,
it says we both earned $50 if you want. Yeah. Besides the fact that it's a lot of money, I think this is the only true affiliation deal that should be, you know, both sides of the shops are like, you should be motivated, and the receiver should get, you know, a discount basically. So that's good.
Yeah, but it's a nice thing, because it also shows that, I mean, they are actually moving in another direction, just like the movement. So it's not like they are creating this crypto virtual credit card, blah, 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 because there are already, I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, crypto virtual credit cards where you pay like a lot of fees just to take out a little bit of your money. It's not nice at all. But this looks legit, actually. And I
don't know how they do it. But like, honestly, like the product market fit for a crypto Bitcoin user. I mean, 4% can be promoting it quite hard, but no, honestly, like it's just a good thing. Yeah, I was really surprised. I also found it a bit fishy in the beginning, you know, but then when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, actually they do it quite well. So yeah, I mean, of course, you know, they promote their shitcoin in the app and stuff. So those things, you know, they don't have Lightning and stuff.
Maybe they would take all our money.
It's still like banking stuff. But come again?
Maybe they would take all our money now, and we would be like, oh shit. No, they
so back to the finish with the promotion here. So please use the link in the description to earn $50 when you sign up at crypto, and then of course you have to register and you have to stake their shitcoin and whatever. But ultimately, at the end of the day, maybe you would get some $50. I think it works. I will figure it out. I mean, but yeah, you have to do a little bit of sign up. And comment, you will get 1,000 Satoshis, which you can claim by messaging the Bitcoin Club. And then we will come up with a challenge maybe until the end for the $10,000 faucet, the 10,000 Satoshis. We're not Mr. Beast yet. Although Mr. Beast should actually, drop some more sets. So back to the China case. I think that question is definitely one that's going to be more interesting and more interesting and more interesting. How the internet is providing freedom to people, commercial freedom of information, especially, and opinion and communication and that stuff. And of course,
you think it's commercial freedom?
We see how it's censored, right? And in China, it's censored. So I mean, any government that wants to limit people's opinions, you need to shut that thing down, because the next step will just be that people, they exit, they will drop out.
Yeah, but I think Europe is going towards that direction actually when it comes to.
Yeah, look, let's keep it independent from any country. Just technically, what I see, what's happening is definitely like 99% of users are not pro users. They are the
users
most
of what of the internet,
of tech in general. Like they get Alexa, they buy Google. They don't think about it. They just take what you give them. So, and that's a big problem, because it's not self-determined. Really, it's not, what's it called? It is not a. Those are not.
I mean, it's harming actually.
Yeah. It's a trap. It's a technology trap.
Yeah, it's a trap.
So, but then on the other side, a few people, they really, I think exactly people who are really tech savvy, who really enjoy technology, who are really like digital natives, I mean, now you don't use the term anymore because it's kind of natural that like a 6-year-old gets a smartphone, But, I think there's kind of this decision in your life where you use a computer as, I'm talking from a, male perspective, maybe more. So like you use a computer and you will be just drawn into this world, and you figure out about Tor, you figure out about VPNs, bypasses, and privacy in the end, and maybe even further. There is a lot of stuff on the internet, that's political, that's critical, and so ultimately you will become someone who can be really intelligent user and empowered user, rather than someone who is kind of helpless. And so that's, I think, for example, with Bitcoin, there's so much about privacy, right? There's such a big link to privacy. How do you keep your private key secret? How do you keep the secret? And that's not that easy. There are different ways of encoding. For example, like you can take your mnemonic seed and then convert it into a number.
What is a private key? I mean, you have to explain what is a private key. I mean, for people who don't know what it is.
Yeah. So basically, I think the private key is your password to your Bitcoins, and therefore you couldn't even say actually your private key is your Bitcoins, because without the private key you don't have your Bitcoin, and anyone else who has your private key has your Bitcoin. Therefore, the only thing that matters really is your private key. So your private key is your Bitcoin, right? And the problem is
the private key is basically the bank account.
The private key is the bank account, exactly right. So, and you are the bank account, you are responsible. And how are you going to do that if you used to go to a bank, right? And where they take care, and if you do a mistake, then they bail you out, they help you, they reset your password. You can't do that anymore. You can't do that with Bitcoin, because it's not possible to have both. To have control and have unconfiscatable money, but have some sort of reset or centralized authority to identify users. That's not possible at the same time. But there are a lot of tricks you can apply. For example, having proper backup culture and stuff like that. But again, you know, that's the problem. Like, and the same with the smartphone, you know, like your smartphone is a spying device, you know, like people now figure out, hey, it's so weird, it's so scary. I talked with my friend about, you know, XYZ, travel here, travel there, something like that. And then you get an advertising on YouTube pre-roll, you know, you get a video for a service, or like you get some advertising, and people get that now, you know, they understand, okay, yeah, fuck, this thing is listening 24 hours to any single word I say, even if I say it quiet, you know.
Yeah, but
so
yeah,
it's the same problem.
but sometimes I'm thinking about whose fault it. I mean, when it comes to the privacy itself like you said, now with the phones, they are private stealers. I think you said something like that. They actually steal things from us. But in reality, if we just read the terms and conditions from the start, I think we would have been more secure. I think we as people actually failed.
Yeah, if
like,
people would read the terms and condition, yeah, or like if people would know what they're doing, they wouldn't do it. Yeah, it's really anti. It's not really. It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. It's not human. Yeah, it doesn't. It has no human dignity. I mean, why would you?
No. Of course, no. I mean, this is something I think a lot of, and you know that, especially you. But I think a lot of these things, you know, with the privacy, and you know, it's not about the privacy anymore either. It's also about like being anonymous, being what's the word? When you be anonymous, yeah. When you to be anonymous, that's also right, I think. But people are focusing on the privacy more than being anonymous, because it's actually more hard to be. I mean, I don't know many people that can be anonymous in any way. I mean, even on the internet or in the real life.
Yeah, it's impossible. I mean,
it's impossible, basically. I mean, some people have skills with it, and some people don't even know what that is. I mean, because it's like a thing to live and give yourself all the time. It's a very deep thing, at least.
So maybe I have an idea here, because I was watching a documentary about like a company based in Florida, or coming out of Florida, and it's not called Know Before. There's a documentary on YouTube. It's quite interesting, and it's like the perfect B2B startup success story, like perfect. They're also really good with the marketing. Like their entire YouTube channel is like, you know, self-marketing and like showing how well it's, like how perfect this is. And the CEO is like super tall guy, like always smiling and stuff. Company is called Know Before, and what they do is like security, okay? And what they basically do is they go to companies and they have a platform, so it's all automated, and they send emails to educate the employees on phishing, on, you know, attacks, because still, you know, hacking company basically data, all kinds of, but still, you know, the biggest problem with company attacks is the employee in the end. Yeah, because that's kind of the weak spot. That's where you don't have control, because they can make mistake if they're not trained. So this company just, you know, sends fake emails, and the funny thing is, like, when the employee clicks download PDF, because, you know, that doesn't understand how, doesn't succeed to identify the attack, basically, then they get a video from the CEO with, you know, some bullshit, I don't know. So they follow the channel. They get trained, you know, on the how to identify this.
Yes, but
general practices. And I think that's a kind of, you know, at the end of the day, only we will like. This is an interesting question, you know. Bitcoin is if you see Bitcoin as a product that solves a problem, or if you see lack of privacy as a market, you know, a new market, or if you see like the higher the tax in Germany goes, the more tax consultants will earn to help these people to, you know, move elsewhere, reside in better jurisdictions, or incorporate offshore with offshore bank accounts. The same with Bitcoin, right? So I think it's, once it gets a business case, then there's good progress to expect. As long as the kind of counterpower successfully manages to make the business case unattractive or too complicated with regulation, then people don't have a chance. Yeah. So That's a problem, yeah. But right now I still think like it's quite possible for a lot of problems to have solutions. It just requires work. So like there are private phones now, you know, there are like there's open source hardware. There's even a startup, they do open source chips, you know, nano chips. So you know, I think there's definitely an anti-trend, but it's still niche. And the question is, when will the people figure out, you know, and when do we see enough traction for building new technology that it's designed based on good values, based on privacy, and you know, and like the right for your own data and stuff like that. So right now I think people don't give a shit, and these big players have massive amounts of funding from the VC funds and the cheap money, basically. Like they have easy access to low credit rates from the easy money scheme. That also breaks down, and then I think people have better chances to get better services. I think right now what's happening is, for example, like the word free not necessarily is good, you know. I think people figure out, like, if I use a free service, yeah, okay, they use my data, you know. So I think before I was like, I don't give a shit about my data. It depends on the service also, right? It depends on the service. Like for some things you're okay to give your data, for some things not. And I think that's already a kind of cultural achievement or learning now, that like more and more people, hey, if they build a business, they also consider actually it's better to own the stuff, right? So I better set up my own cloud. Maybe it's a bit shittier, buggier, but at least I have a big advantage on the privacy side.
Yeah, because
so I think we're evolving constantly, and I hope it goes into a direction where people understand what they do, and I think Bitcoin is a big driver when it comes to all the problems in the banking system that are not customer centered. You know, they're really ugly and stupid. And again, I mean, the biggest problem I think the biggest thing that Bitcoin really does is it is digital gold. So it's like, you know, an art piece or something, but just more aggressive because it's global, right? It's new money, and it shows off more aggressive when there's the pump, you know, kind of every 4 years, right? And so that's a huge paradigm shift, because if people get used to better quality money, I mean, you know, it's a massive transition that we're going through, I think.
I mean, I've been like I spoke about previously, I've been using Bitcoin a lot in all different for services, and you know, I paid back loans. I've been given back money people been. I mean, I've been using it for all kinds of stuff, and I mean, it's so smooth. It's a smooth transaction. You know, it feels very secure. You know, it's very hard to get scammed if you don't use, you know, pages on websites where you don't know if it's legit or not, because we also have to be very careful when we are using Bitcoin, because there is no middle hand like the bank, for example, or maybe have some terms and conditions and take the responsibility, and this and that happens and blah blah blah, because it's small money for the bank. But for us as people, when we actually own our own money and we actually are our own people, then it hurts a bit more when we are feeling helpless. So that's why we also need to educate ourselves. But for me as a Bitcoin user and also a crypto user, because I've been doing some transactions with, let me see. I was gonna say Ripple, but that's not true.
Yeah, the same. Today I topped up my Skype account with Bitcoin. I was low on Skype. I needed to call my grandmother, and so I used BitRefill, you know, and it's faster than typing in my credit card details, you know. It's faster typing in my credit, although I have to go a second step, you know. If Skype would just accept Lightning payments, you know, no problem. I mean, they don't, you know, so it goes to this gift card. But even with the gift cards, it's easier than my credit card. So and then I played lottery today. There's like a Lightning lottery. So I put like
where
it will be drawn on Friday, so that's gonna be fun. I think I have good numbers.
This bingo.
I was really surprised because I just Googled Lightning lottery and it came up on top. So because usually these services are like have really bad SEO and like you don't find them easily. But this one was like just on top.
It sounds like a scam, but okay. It's nice. I mean,
yeah,
also,
no, it's nothing big or something.
Speaking of scams and paying with bitcoins, there's a lot of crypto casinos popping up. I mean, I'm not a casino player, but I know people, especially in Sweden. Sweden have a large amount of people playing casino, and we have casino advertisements on the television, like on every TV show. There's always a casino advertisement. I'm a bit curious about the people behind the Bitcoin casinos, especially because, I mean, I don't know how it is with regulations and stuff. And I guess, do you have any idea about the Bitcoin casinos? Are they as legit as a normal casino online, or are they? I'm very curious because yes, I've been thinking about trying one out.
We should do another show. We should do another show about, because I can tell you a lot about it. But let's wrap up and finish with. We need to come up with a price. We need to celebrate the all-time high, and I want to refer to the poll. When will you start spending Bitcoin? I asked on Twitter, and I gave 4 possible answers. Answer number 1 is, I already spent some Bitcoin. Answer number 2 is, I will spend Bitcoin after hyper-Bitcoinization. Hyper-Bitcoinization means that Bitcoin is, world dominant currency. Or then 2 more options, which is, I will spend Bitcoin once it's over 100K or once it's over 1 million. I mean, once it's over 1 million, hyper-Bitcoinization is probably kind of the same. And so we got 11 votes, and it's equally almost 36%. I already spent Bitcoin, 27% after hyper-Bitcoinization, and 36 over 1 million. What has 0 votes is over 100K. So people will either spend a little bit right now already and throughout, but the 100K mark is nothing of significance. So after hyper-Bitcoinization, when Bitcoin is money, Bitcoin will spend it anyways, regardless, right? And then happy hodlers, which have bought undervalued in the early beginnings, which we're still in, where you can easy stack sats, much easier than once it's valued at millions eventually, if it ever come there. And then also it is used as money already, right? So as we discussed, I think people use Bitcoin as money partially already, and now with second layer technology advancing even more so and even easier. But you had the question before, wouldn't it be nice if more merchants would accept it? Yeah, for sure, totally. But I think was it Warren Buffett or no? I think his partner, right? There's this famous quote. I think it was Buffett, like, tell me the incentives and I'll tell you the action or something. So everything is pure economics. Everything needs to make business sense. Everything needs to be some sort of a motivation, right? And right now, again, I prefer not spending Bitcoin over spending Bitcoin, because the long-term advantage is higher than the short-term gain of my purchase. Like whatever I would buy with it, it would mean it like the opportunity cost is losing my savings or using my savings, and this hurts when over time the value appreciates because of the fundamentals of Bitcoin being the most scarce asset the world has ever seen. And so that's why Bitcoiners don't like to spend Bitcoin, because everybody made the experience at a certain point, especially the longer you are in. If you're an early beginner, then you will spend it and you will say, hey, okay, so I spent all my Bitcoin.
Yeah, I do understand that you feel the way, and I do the same, to be honest. I mean, if I would have, let's say, a lot of Bitcoins right now, I would rather hold them than spend them, of course, because I believe we have a really exciting future coming up. But then again, I get a small kick out of using my Bitcoin, in a sense that I feel like it's working. It's a purpose. We're already there. It works. It's nice, and it's a nice system. It's very hard for someone who never used Bitcoin to understand the feeling, and that's why Lee is gonna give everyone Satoshis. Go comment.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I like spending Bitcoin, and I would like to have more merchants for sure, but you can't force it. So it
No.
will happen based on the general adoption. Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, we need to come up with finally with a 10,000 Satoshi price for someone that does something really amazing. Maybe like create a video or come on the next live stream. If you come on the next live stream, you get 10,000.
Yeah, for sure.
10,000 Satoshis.
and don't forget about the Bitcoin Club Malta. Go and it's a lot of good things. It's a lot of good news. It's a lot of good content.
Yeah, I think I maybe need to prepare a better Satoshi faucet funnel.
Yeah,
we should put a faucet. We should put a faucet in the Telegram group so that people come in.
Yeah, did you know I was addicted to the faucets for a while? I was chasing faucets. I'm serious.
Faucet addiction.
I thought it was so fun. I was like, I was joining every faucet I could find.
But it's always a scam. No? Isn't it also a huge scam industry, faucets?
Yeah, I wanted, not for the scam, but I wanted to start my own faucet. So I was looking for scripts in Indian sites and stuff. It's good times.
Yeah, no, I think it's a nice idea. If it's somehow, I mean, first of all, like with Bitcoin, I always wonder how they do it, that you can only do it one time. There must be a time limit, right? Because you can't really, or you have to register users, really, right? But you will always get so much people that just want to exploit it. So, but the idea to somehow give people Bitcoin is cool.
Yeah. Of course, yes. But I mean, explore Bitcoin, try everything you can. Don't spend money you can't lose in the beginning if you're trying it out yourself. But I mean, there's a lot of people out there knowing how to use it and how to buy it and how to sell it. So just speak more Bitcoin, talk about it, let people know.
Yeah, it's definitely worth talking about it. Whatever opinion you have about it. Now, if you hate it, talk about it. If you love it, talk about it.
Even if you hate it, talk about it.
What I liked was this Tim Draper story. Definitely, so there is this opportunity, and it's something real. Yeah, it is real. It is actually real. Like, you can live on Bitcoin already. There's a huge global community, huge, massive. There are jobs. Okay, not enough. There need to be more, but it's massive. It's massive, and
yeah, it's not only the Bitcoin millionaires. The people have this idea that it's too late, and people went millionaires, billionaires, 2017, and blah blah blah. It's not about that. That's not the actual point. The point is, this is something you won't get rid of. Just get into it as fast as you can and try to learn as much as you can, because you will. I think most of the people actually find it quite interesting and also fun, because like I said, I like to use Bitcoin. I like to learn more.
Yeah, that's the right mindset also. Like, I think the people who are mostly drawn into Bitcoin are people who are like entrepreneurial, internet savvy, and somehow have values of property rights in the end. Like, they don't want to be stolen by a gang of bankers or a gang of politicians or anyone else. They value their own freedom and their own property, and they don't want to give up, for
but
reasons.
But I mean, I can feel the politicians are outside these conversations as well. I mean, I barely know any politician talking about Bitcoins. I mean, people are very updated about what's going on in the world. Of course, people are pro Bitcoin and anti, but me, who actually don't. I mean, I barely watch the news when it comes to certain things. I'm just trying to get the information that's valuable for me, and that's what I care about, and how to use it, and for what purposes, and why I believe in it. You don't need to, believe in what other believes in. get your own
yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, no, that's a nice thing about Bitcoin also. I mean, besides a lot of, I don't know, there are all kinds of people, also like scammers. But honestly, like those people who understand Bitcoin and who are actively working, like those guys they're just like, really fantastic, intelligent, bright, smart people building a new world for them, for the next generation. And that's where I think that's so beautiful. Once you fall down the rabbit hole and get drawn into it and immerse yourself, man,
I mean, this is a tool people would
like
so
everybody, I think, everybody working in Bitcoin understands that it's the right thing to do, and anything else doesn't make sense. Working on it's not as fulfilling and rewarding, because it doesn't have that promise so strong that that you have the opportunity to really impact and really create a better world and really change the future, right, to the good, right? And again, like Tim Draper said, Bitcoin, millennials should buy Bitcoin, because if they don't want to live a world pre-designed by other people they don't know for them, if they want to create something out of their creativity, then they need Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, it's all about economic power, right, and influence, right? And right now, a small group of people literally has ultimate power with printing money out of thin air and taxing the entire world economy through inflation, right? So that's an unfair game, and we should stop that and make it fair with sound money. And then you can just read Bitcoin standard and figure out, hey, with sound money, actually things can get quite well. Like, over the long term, you will have enormous prosperity and technology and stuff based on good Austrian business cycle, rather than crash economy as we have it now, where it's just completely fucked up. So yeah, fantastic opportunities. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Victor, for joining. And,
thank you for having me.
hopefully soon again, maybe with better internet connection. I'll see where I'll be next. And I mean, if
don't
anyone...
forget, I think the Bitcoin price is really rising right now. I'm gonna send the link to you, Lee, and post the Trading View link in the comment as well, because it's nice to see. Interesting.
He's pumping. It's pumping hard. Yeah, I mean, everybody waited for that. No, I mean, it was a dry. I mean, it's really relief. No, although I mean, nobody's ever happy with Bitcoin, because everybody's like, shit, now I cannot, buy it cheap. Now it's expensive again.
Yeah, but
now it's time to get on board. Like it was a dry, hard bear market. I mean, I think I don't care about the price, but I think people are still kind of undecided whether it's gonna pump even higher, right, or if it's dropping again. But now it looks like it's over.
To be honest, I think some traders are selling. But yes, because they are afraid. But now we'll see. The link will be in the comment, I hope, and you can follow the diagram and see some technical analysis. It's really interesting.
Yeah, if somebody just watched until here, you will get the 10,000 satoshis. Just the first one who watched, the first one who claims it, watched until here, listens now, you get 10,000 satoshis on your Lightning wallet. Just claim it.
It's like when I read a book, it starts on the end.
Free satoshis, 10,000 free satoshis. Okay. Thanks for watching. Buy Bitcoin, be free, no financial advice. See you in the next video. And celebrate the all-time high of 2020, first all-time high of 2020. Right now, here on spot, 8,258 euros, 9,000. I think we were higher. We were already $9,100.
We're rising.
Nice. That's at 9,096 at Bitstamp. So I think it was $9,100 at Bitstamp already.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking $600. I mean, in 4 hours, something like that in value. It's great. Great.
Cool. Yeah. Wish you a fantastic night, Victor. Talk soon.
1 2 1 2. Ciao.